Chapter 2040. The Luo family is the winner of this competition. For the next 10,000 years, the Luo family will rule over the Yura kingdom. Following that, the elder of the Yura kingdom announced. The Yu family head's face was extremely gloomy. He was extremely unwilling. However, this was a tradition that had been passed down for countless years in the Yura kingdom. Even if he did not dare to do so, he still had to hand over the throne. Unless his Yu family's strength was enough to suppress the other factions in the Yura kingdom, he could break this tradition. However, it was clear that the Yu family was unable to do so. In the end, he could only hand over the scepter that represented the king. After that, Lu Ming did not have anything to do with it. He sat on the spectator stand and watched calmly. Next, the Luo family head received the scepter. After that, a series of ceremonies were held, and he began to rule over the Yura kingdom. After the ceremony, there was a banquet. When everything was over, it was already the next day. After a few days, Luo Xian brought a pile of treasures, saying that it was a reward for Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not hesitate to accept it. The following days were peaceful again. Lu Ming stayed in the little princess residence and cultivated quietly. However, Luo Xian would often look for Lu Ming to spar with him. Of course, Luo Xian would return in defeat every time. Time passed, and 1.5 months passed. On this day, Luo Xian found Lu Ming and informed him that they were going to the ancient devil nation. In half a month, the king of the ancient devil nation would hold a banquet to celebrate his passing of the great calamity and being able to live for another 300,000 years. At that time, all the countries that were subordinate to the ancient devil nation would send people to congratulate him. The Yura kingdom was a subordinate of the ancient devil nation. Are we finally going to the ancient devil nation? Lu Ming muttered. This way, he would be one step closer to the ancient devil coffin. Yu Ning and the others have already gone to the ancient devil nation a few days ago. Luo Xian said. Lu Ming nodded and followed Luo Xian to a teleportation array. The Luo family head personally led a group of a few hundred people. There were also some young geniuses as they stepped into the teleportation array. First, they arrived at the citadel outside the capital of the ancient devil nation. Then, they flew towards the capital. Ancient Devil Nation, one of the 2 super devil nations in the land of 10,000 devils. It was truly a giant. Its capital was exceptionally majestic. It was not inferior to the celestial city in the primordial mountains. In the land of myriad devils, there were a total of 2 super devil nations and 10 high-grade devil nations. Naturally, they were divided into 2 camps. The 2 super devil nations were enemies of each other. Each of the super devil nations ruled over a large number of low-level and mid-level devil nations. There were also 5 high-grade devil kingdoms under their control. The Yura kingdom was one of the 5 high-grade devil kingdoms under the ancient devil kingdom. Naturally, it was highly valued. When they arrived, someone received them and arranged accommodations for them. In the blink of an eye, they had been in the capital of the ancient devil nation for 3 days. Lu Ming, the little prince of the Blue Demon King's residence, has set up a banquet today and invited the prodigies of various countries. Shall we go and take a look? Luo Xian found Lu Ming and asked. The little prince of the Blue Demon King's residence? Lu Ming was slightly taken aback. The ancient devil nation is one of the 2 super devil nations in the land of myriad devils. It rules over countless smaller countries. Many of the smaller countries are inextricably linked to some of the influential families in the ancient devil nation. The Blue Demon King's residence is a powerful force in the ancient devil nation. Our Luo family has a good relationship with the Blue Demon King's residence. The little prince of the Azure Demon Nation invited the prodigies of various countries to a banquet to strengthen our relationship. Luo Xian explained. Lu Ming nodded. As long as there were benefits to be gained, there would naturally be benefits to be gained. Moreover, every time the ancient devil nation overcomes a great calamity and holds a banquet, the young prodigies of various countries will compete with each other. Those who perform well will be rewarded handsomely. Therefore, it's normal for the prodigies of various countries to meet and understand each other's strength. Luo Xian added. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The ancient devil nation's lord would allow the prodigies of various countries to compete with each other. This was an opportunity for Lu Ming. If he performed well and caught the attention of the ancient devil nation's lord, he might be one step closer to borrowing the ancient devil coffin. Alright, let's go take a look. Lu Ming nodded. Lu Ming and Luo Xian immediately met up with the other prodigies of the Yura kingdom, such as Wu Shi and the others, and headed towards the Blue Demon King's residence. Of course, Yu Ning, Ji Tian, and the others did not follow them. Yu Ning, Ji Tian, and the others had arrived at the ancient devil nation's capital earlier than them. They had different connections. Soon, they arrived at a vast mansion. Someone received them and led them to a spacious courtyard. There were many tables and chairs in the courtyard. At this moment, many people had already arrived. They were all from the younger generation. Greetings, Princess Luo Xian. When Luo Xian arrived, many young men bowed to her. The Yura kingdom was a high-tier devil nation. Moreover, it was one of the top 5 high-tier devil nations under the ancient devil nation. These young men were from middle-tier or low-tier devil nations. Their statuses were far lower than Luo Xian's. Naturally, they had to bow to her when they saw her. Luo Xian smiled and nodded. After greeting everyone, she sat down at a table. Lu Ming, sit here. Princess Luo Xian smiled and pointed to a stool beside her. Lu Ming did not stand on ceremony and sat down beside Luo Xian. As for Wu Shi and the others, they sat behind Luo Xian and Lu Ming. Many young men looked at Lu Ming curiously. Who was this person that could sit beside Princess Luo Xian? Ha ha ha, Luo Xian, long time no see. A hearty laugh sounded as a purple-robed young man strode over. He was quite handsome and had an extraordinary aura. There were a few young men behind him. Greetings, little prince. Seeing this young man, the young men quickly stood up and bowed. Lu Ming and Luo Xian also stood up and cupped their fists. This young man was the little prince of the Blue Demon King's residence. The Blue Demon King was an extremely terrifying existence. It was said that he was of the same generation as the ancient devil nation's ruler. The two of them had an extraordinary relationship. Therefore, the Blue Demon King had a lot of power in the ancient devil nation. As the grandson of the Blue Demon King, the little prince's status was naturally noble. Naturally, he was also a terrifying genius. Everyone, there's no need for formalities. Please take a seat. The little prince waved his hand and looked at Luo Xian. He smiled and said, Princess Luo Xian, I haven't seen you for a few years. Your cultivation has become even more profound. If this continues, I'm afraid I won't be your match in a few years. You're too polite, little prince. Who in the ancient devil nation doesn't know about your talent? How can Luo Xian be your match? Luo Xian said humbly. And this is, the little prince looked at Lu Ming. He was naturally curious about the fact that he could sit with Luo Xian. However, when he looked at Lu Ming carefully, his face darkened. Lu Ming frowned slightly. Just a moment ago, he felt a murderous intent from the other party. Chapter 2041. His name is Lu Ming. Luo Xian introduced Lu Ming. Princess Luo Xian, what's your relationship with this person? The young prince asked. He's my guest elder. Young prince, do you know Lu Ming? Luo Xian also felt that something was amiss and asked. So he's just a guest elder. Princess Luo Xian, can you hand him over to me? The young prince's eyes flickered and the murderous intent in his eyes intensified. Young prince, he's my guest elder. I have to be responsible for him. Why do you want me to hand him over to you? Luo Xian frowned and asked. The other young men also seemed to feel that something was wrong. They all held their breaths and didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Kill! The young prince said coldly. He didn't hide his murderous intent and said, this person must die. Young prince, is there a misunderstanding here? Luo Xian asked. She secretly sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming and asked, Lu Ming, when did you offend Song Yan? Song Yan was the young prince's name. This is the first time I've seen him. Lu Ming frowned and sent a voice transmission to Princess Luo Xian. He was also confused. He had never seen Song Yan before. He really didn't understand why Song Yan wanted to kill him as soon as he saw him. Misunderstanding? All the direct descendants of the Blue Demon King's residents have a kind of mark on them. When they are killed, this mark will attach to the person who killed them. I felt the mark of the Blue Demon King's residence on him. Is this a misunderstanding? Song Yan said coldly. Everyone's heart skipped a beat and understood. Lu Ming had killed a direct descendant of the Blue Demon King's residence. Song Yan had sensed the mark on him. No wonder Song Yan wanted to kill Lu Ming the moment he saw him. Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. He suddenly recalled that not long after he had arrived in the land of myriad devils, he had been cultivating in a certain place when a group of people had tried to steal the devil origin fruit. In the end, they had all been killed by him. One of the young men had shouted that he was from the ancient devil kingdom. Could it be that he was a direct descendant of the Blue Demon King's residence? This was too much of a coincidence. Furthermore, he had encountered such a mark in the Blue Demon King's residence before. The Thousand Slayer Manor was a terrifying assassin organization. As long as you killed someone from the Thousand Slayer Manor, there would be a slaughter mark on your body. Back then, Lu Ming had even asked the palace master of the Phoenix Palace to remove it. The mark on the Blue Demon King mansion was very similar to the mark on the Thousand Slayer mansion. Luo Xian also frowned and said, Little Prince, could there be a mistake somewhere? Definitely not. A few months ago, a cousin of mine was training outside and was killed by someone. It should be this person who killed him. Luo Xian, this person is just a guest elder of yours. You don't have to care about this matter. Song Yan said and waved his hand. Swoosh! A young man rushed out from behind Song Yan. A sword light bloomed and attacked Lu Ming. The sword light was cold. It was going to slice Lu Ming's throat. Adjudication. Luo Xian said softly and struck out with the power of adjudication, destroying the sword light. Princess Luo Xian, are you going to protect this person? Do you think it's worth it to fall out with the Blue Demon King mansion for a guest elder? Song Yan's face darkened as he said in a threatening tone. A few months ago, I did kill someone. However, that person wanted to snatch a treasure and attacked me without any explanation. How could I not retaliate? At that moment, Lu Ming spoke. I see. Little Prince, in the land of all demons, no matter who it is, it's normal to be killed while training outside and fighting for treasures. In the land of all demons, strength is everything. If you're weaker than others, you'll be a laughingstock if you take revenge now. Luo Xian did not back down and said coldly. In the land of all demons, the strong preyed on the weak. No matter who it was, they had to be prepared to be killed while training outside. This was the rule of the land of all demons. Humph, my cousin has several quasi-emperors by his side. How many quasi-emperors can he deal with? He probably used some despicable method to kill my cousin. How about this, let him fight with me. If he can last 10 moves without being defeated, I'll acknowledge his strength. Song Yan said coldly. In his opinion, Lu Ming was just a guest elder of Luo Xian. How strong could he be? Some of the youths behind Song Yan sneered. Song Yan was one of the top geniuses in the ancient devil nation. Not only did he have a king body, but his cultivation had also reached the great circle of the absolute saint realm. How could Lu Ming last 10 moves against Song Yan? He would probably be killed by Song Yan as soon as they fought. This was Song Yan's goal. As long as he fought with Lu Ming, he would be able to kill Lu Ming legitimately. Luo Xian's eyes flashed. Although Song Yan was strong, Lu Ming could even defeat Ji Tian. He was definitely not weaker than Song Yan. Wouldn't it be easy for him to last 10 moves? All right, I agree. Lu Ming stepped forward and said indifferently. He actually agreed. It seems like this kid doesn't know how strong Zhang Yan is. Many people had the same thought in their minds. However, some of them were just waiting to watch the show. This kid is really courting death. Some of the youths behind Zhang Yan smiled playfully. Zhang Yan's eyes flashed coldly. Princess Luo Xian, since he has agreed, please don't interfere. I won't interfere. I hope the young prince will keep his word. After saying that, Luo Xian returned to the table. Keep my word? This girl, does she think that this kid can take 10 moves from me? Where did she get that confidence from? The young prince sneered. Then, he looked at Lu Ming with even colder killing intent. Anyone who dared to kill someone from the Blue Demon King's residence would die. The young prince wanted to make an example of him in front of the people from the small nations so that they would be more afraid of him. Let's fight in the sky. Lu Ming said. There's no need to fight in the sky to deal with you. One move is enough. Zhang Yan sneered and pointed with his finger. Whoosh! The finger was like a long spear that pierced through the void and made a terrible whistling sound. The finger was highly condensed. However, Lu Ming didn't even look at it. He pointed with his finger and runes shone on his finger. Bang! When the two fingers collided, an explosion sounded out. The terrifying energy caused many tables and chairs to flip over. Many people retreated in fear, avoiding the energy that was scattered in all directions. On the other hand, Zhang Yan's figure was forced back 2 steps, falling into a disadvantageous position. The law of Array Dao. You have a king body. Zhang Yan roared. So it's the law of penetration. Lu Ming's heart moved. He was familiar with this law. Luo Pokong of the Daluo Heavens sect also mastered this law, but he had been killed by him. I've said that we'll fight in the sky. Lu Ming said lightly. Zhang Yan's face became gloomy and his killing intent was extremely cold. Just now, he was confident that he could kill Lu Ming in one move without the need to fight in the sky. However, the reality was a slap to his face. Let's fight in the sky. Chapter 2042. Kill. Zhang Yan attacked Lu Ming as soon as he was in the air. His fingers were like a spear as he attacked continuously. With the help of the law of penetration, his attacks were powerful and could penetrate everything. Beams of spear gleams pierced toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled and pointed continuously. Countless runes spread and condensed into many lightning birds. They pounced on the spear gleams at an astonishing speed and blocked them. He's so powerful. He also has a king body. No wonder he can sit side by side with Princess Luo Xian. Some of the geniuses from small countries exclaimed. 2 moves. In the sky, Lu Ming spoke calmly. Kill. Zhang Yan attacked for the 3rd time. His cultivation of the Great Sage Realm was fully unleashed. An even more powerful finger radiance shot toward Lu Ming. Zhang Yan's attack style was similar to Luo Pokong's, but his super skills were different. However, Zhang Yan's combat strength was much stronger than Luo Pokong's. The terrifying qi whizzed toward Lu Ming, but it was blocked by Lu Ming's finger. 3 moves. Lu Ming continued to speak calmly and nonchalantly. Die. Zhang Yan's eyes became colder and colder. A halo was emitted from his body and circled around him. The law of light. Many people gasped. Zhang Yan's combat strength was indeed terrifying. As the top genius of the ancient demonic nation, he was stronger than the other king bodies. It was said that no one in the ancient demonic nation was a match for Zhang Yan except for the Son of Heaven. Kill. A long spear appeared in Zhang Yan's hand. Together with the law of light, its power reached a shocking level. 3 scrolls as one. Lu Ming pointed his finger. A true dragon roared and charged toward Zhang Yan. The true dragon contained the scroll of annihilation, the scroll of illusionary spirits, and the scroll of sealing. Boom! With a loud explosion, the long spear in Song Yan's hand trembled unceasingly. His body trembled violently as he was pushed back by a terrifying force. Song Yan was actually at a disadvantage. Below, other than the people from the Yura kingdom, everyone else was dumbfounded. Some people even rubbed their eyes, thinking that they were seeing things. Song Yan suppressed the other king physiques and almost stood at the peak. If the Elysian child didn't appear, he was almost invincible. But now, he was being suppressed by Lu Ming. Who was this Lu Ming? How could a random person be so terrifying? They were speechless. Is that all you've got? You want to defeat me in 10 moves? What a joke. It's my turn now. Lu Ming said calmly and took a step forward. Countless runes soared into the sky and transformed into 9 dragons. This time, it was not a true dragon, but 9 dragons. The 9 dragons soared into the sky and charged toward Song Yan. To be honest, Song Yan was very strong. He was even stronger than Ji Tian. Song Yan was almost at the peak of the absolute saint realm. His mastery of the laws had reached 99%. He was only one step away from becoming a quasi-emperor. But compared to Lu Ming, even if Lu Ming didn't use the law of chaos, he was still a little weaker. The 9 dragons pounced. Song Yan's expression changed drastically. He unleashed all his strength and stabbed out with his spear. The 9 dragons roared and clawed out continuously, crushing Song Yan's attack. The terrifying power of destruction and countless runes surged toward Song Yan. Song Yan was pushed back for 10,000 meters before he could stabilize himself. Puff! His body trembled and he spat out a mouthful of blood. You've lost. Lu Ming said calmly. His voice wasn't loud, but it was like a heavy blow to Song Yan's body, causing him to spit out another mouthful of blood. Lu Ming's words were so sarcastic. Just a moment ago, Song Yan was still arrogant and said that he would defeat Lu Ming in 10 moves. In fact, 10 moves was just a casual remark. In his opinion, 1 move was enough to defeat Lu Ming and even kill Lu Ming. But now, he was defeated by Lu Ming in less than 10 moves. Kill! Song Yan roared. Boom! Boom! 2 figures rushed out from the depths of the palace. Their terrifying aura made everyone's expression change. They were 2 martial emperors. Song Yan wanted to send martial emperors to kill Lu Ming. Song Yan, you're going back on your words. Luo Xian rushed to the sky and came in front of Lu Ming, glaring at Song Yan. Get out of the way. Song Yan's expression was somewhat ferocious. Today, Lu Ming made him lose face in front of so many people from small countries. He wished he could cut Lu Ming into pieces. As for this, he had brought it on himself. But of course, he wouldn't think about it. Everything was Lu Ming's fault. How could it be his fault? Song Yan, you sent martial emperors because you couldn't win. If this matter were to spread, I'm afraid it would tarnish your reputation. Even the reputation of the Blue Demon King's residence would be damaged. Luo Xian stood firmly in front of Lu Ming and continued, moreover, even if you must take action today, you'll have to do it over my dead body. Lu Ming is my guest. I can't watch him get killed. Song Yan's expression turned even uglier. Luo Xian's words did make him hesitate. One was his reputation, and the other was Luo Xian's identity. Luo Xian was the princess of the Yura kingdom. The Yura kingdom wasn't an ordinary small country. It was one of the top 5 high-grade countries under the ancient devil nation. He was also very apprehensive. Song Yan hesitated. Lu Ming, let's go. Luo Xian transmitted her voice to Lu Ming, then turned around and walked out of the Blue Demon King's residence. Wu Shi and the others quickly followed. Song Yan's expression changed a few times, but he didn't give the order to take action. Lu Ming and the others left the Blue Demon King's residence and returned to their residence. I didn't expect that person to be from the Song Yan residence. Lu Ming was also speechless. He came here with the intention of getting to know the ancient devil nation's royal family through Luo Xian's recommendation. He didn't expect to offend the Blue Demon King's residence's little prince. It seems like I can only wait for the ancient devil nation's king's banquet to find an opportunity when all the Sky Prides compete. Lu Ming thought to himself. Lu Ming, don't think too much. The Blue Demon King's residence isn't the only Sky Prides in the ancient devil nation's royal family. I'll introduce you to the others in a few days. Luo Xian comforted Lu Ming. Thank you. Lu Ming looked at Luo Xian and smiled. He was quite touched when Luo Xian stood in front of him unwaveringly. Luo Xian was a straightforward person. Compared to Yuning, she was much better. In the next few days, Luo Xian introduced a few members of the royal family to Lu Ming. Although they were talented, they were still lacking compared to the Zhang Yan. There were a few times when Lu Ming tried to find out more about the ancient demonic coffin. However, the other party did not know much about the ancient demonic coffin. He only knew that it was the treasure of the ancient demonic nation and only the king could control it. Lu Ming frowned, his heart heavy. The ancient demonic coffin was so important that only the king could control it. Could he really borrow it for a month? Needless to say, the king of the ancient devil nation was an emperor. Chapter 2043. 10 days later, the king's banquet officially began. At the center of the ancient devil nation's capital, a majestic palace suddenly appeared in the sky. The palace shone brightly, and it could be seen from far away. The palace had 9 floors, and it looked like a divine palace. There was a jade staircase in each of the 4 directions of the palace, extending from the top of the palace to the bottom. The guests who went to congratulate the king climbed up the jade staircase to the 9th floor of the palace. Lu Ming and the people of the Yura kingdom went up the jade staircase on the east side. What a majestic palace! Lu Ming was shocked. This 9-floor palace was too huge. It was 100,000 feet tall, and it pierced through the sky. Even the jade staircase was incomparably huge. A person on it was like an ant. There were people coming from this direction, climbing up the jade staircase to congratulate the king. The ancient devil nation was one of the 2 super devil nations in the land of infinite demons. Almost half of the devil nations came to congratulate the king, so the number of people was naturally shocking. Lu Ming and the others climbed up the jade staircase, and it took them half an hour to reach the 9th floor of the palace. The 9th floor of the palace was open air, and it was incomparably spacious. There were all kinds of sacred herbs and strange flowers everywhere, and their fragrance assailed the nostrils. This area was filled with tables and chairs. The Yura kingdom was one of the 5 great devil nations. As soon as they arrived, they were led to the top. The location of this area was also very particular. The height was different and the level was different. The lowest level was where the people of the low-tier devil nations sat. The lower level was where the middle-tier devil nations sat. Above them were where the 5 high-tier devil nations sat. At the top were the experts of the ancient devil nation and the nobles. Brother Luo. Brother Luo. When Lu Ming and the others arrived, there were already some people there. When they saw the head of the Luo family, they greeted him. These people were the kings of the other high-tier devil nations, and they had prominent statuses. Now that the Luo family was in charge of the Yura kingdom, they naturally greeted the head of the Luo family. At the side, the head of the Yu family snorted coldly and led Yuning, Ji Tian, and the others to find a seat. Following that, more and more people arrived, and the vast space was almost full. The king has arrived. A voice resounded throughout the entire place, causing everyone to fall silent. The monarch here was none other than the monarch of the ancient devil nation. A group of people flew through the air and landed at the highest point. The person in the lead was a burly old man. He wore a purple gold robe and had a smile on his face. Although he did not reveal any aura, he had a supreme dignity. Greetings to the ancient great emperor. Everyone bowed respectfully. Every ruler of the ancient devil kingdom was known as the ancient great emperor. Everyone, please have a seat. The ancient great emperor waved his hand and everyone took their seats. Lu Ming glanced around and discovered that there were many people beside the ancient great emperor. Some were old, and some were young. Many of their auras were powerful and incomparably terrifying. There was no doubt that there were great emperors among them. The Eternal Devil Nation definitely had more than one great emperor. Song Yan. Lu Ming saw Song Yan in the crowd behind the ancient great emperor. At this moment, Song Yan also looked at the Yura kingdom. When he saw Lu Ming, a cold killing intent flashed in his eyes. Yan, the person you are talking about is that kid? Beside the ancient great emperor, a skinny old man with snow-white hair asked Song Yan through telepathy. This old man was Song Yan's grandfather, the Blue Demon King. Grandfather, that's him. Song Yan nodded. Alright, I understand. Demon King Song nodded and did not continue speaking. His face was calm, and no one could guess what he was thinking. The Sky Domain Devil Nation congratulates the ancient great emperor on overcoming the great calamity and achieving immortality. At this moment, the king of the Sky Domain Devil Nation stood up and congratulated the ancient great emperor. He also presented a congratulatory gift. The Yura Kingdom congratulates the ancient great emperor on overcoming the great calamity and achieving immortality in the future. The head of the Luo family also presented a congratulatory gift. Following that, the kings of the various devil nations came forward to congratulate the ancient great emperor and presented their gifts. Starting from the 5 high-class devil nations, it was the low-class devil nation's turn. Thank you for coming today. Please take a seat. The ancient great emperor's voice was heard. Following that, maids served various delicacies and wine. Then, a peerlessly enchanting female demon came forward to perform the heavenly demon dance. The atmosphere became lively. Great Emperor, there are so many geniuses in the world today. Why don't we let the younger generation compete with each other to liven up the atmosphere? Someone suggested. Every time the ancient great emperor overcame a great calamity, this would happen. Some people were looking forward to it. I also want to see how outstanding the geniuses of this generation are. I heard that there is more than one son of heaven in this generation, and there are even more king physiques. The ancient great emperor said with a smile. That's right. This generation is indeed filled with geniuses, more so than any previous generation. The Blue Demon King said. Oh, in that case, I will also change the rewards this time. Those in the top 3 can make a request of me. If it is something that I can do, I will try my best to satisfy it. Those in the top 10 can also receive a reward. The ancient great emperor's voice spread in all directions. Many people's eyes lit up. Those in the top 3 could make a request of the great emperor. This was too tempting. Moreover, the rewards for those in the top 10 were definitely not trivial. The rewards this time were also beyond the past. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. Those in the top 3 could make a request of the ancient great emperor. If he was in the top 3, wouldn't he be able to borrow the eternal demonic coffin from the ancient great emperor? Since the great emperor said it himself, he shouldn't reject it. Moreover, it was only for a month. I must be in the top 3. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. Although he didn't know how strong the Son of Heaven was, Lu Ming believed that as long as he used his full strength, it shouldn't be a problem for him to be in the top 3. Alright, then I will let the Blue Demon King host this time. The ancient great emperor smiled. He didn't need to host this matter personally. He could leave it to others. Thank you, great emperor. The Blue Demon King stood up and stepped into the air outside the palace. With a wave of his hand, a platform floated out. Then, the platform rapidly expanded into a 100-mile-wide battle platform. The height of the battle platform was slightly lower than the palace. Sitting on it, one could clearly see the situation on the battle platform. Young people who want to participate can sign up and leave their names. The Blue Demon King said and then called a few people to register their names. Whoosh! Whoosh! Immediately, young people flew up and signed up. There were too many people. In an instant, hundreds of people went up. Who do you think will be in the top 3 this time? Is there a need to ask? The 2 sons of heaven will definitely be in the top 3. That's right. The 2 sons of heaven will definitely be in the top 3. The key is who will get the other slot. Song Yen and Lu Su are both likely to get it. Chapter 2044. The registration process was quick. All they had to do was to register their names. Hence, it did not take long. Soon, Lu Ming, Luo Xian, and the rest also went to register. Stop right there. Suddenly, a cold voice was heard. A figure stood in front of Lu Ming. Song Yan. Lu Ming frowned. What is Song Yan trying to do? Lu Ming, you are not qualified to take part in the competition. Step down. Song Yan looked down at Lu Ming from above. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. Many people looked over curiously, including the older generation cultivators in their seats. Song Yan, what do you mean? How is Lu Ming not qualified to take part in the competition? If he is not qualified, then you are not qualified either. Don't forget that you were defeated by Lu Ming a few days ago. Luo Xian stepped forward and stared at Song Yan. What? Song Yan was defeated? Is that true? Is that the young man? It looks mediocre. Many people were shocked. They looked at Lu Ming in bewilderment. In the ancient devil nation and the other devil nations under its rule, Song Yan was the most outstanding genius, except for the Son of Heaven. Almost no one could defeat him. How could this person defeat Song Yan? What is his background? After all, the geniuses invited by Song Yan were only a small part of the people present. Many people did not know about the battle between Lu Ming and Song Yan. Those geniuses present were afraid of offending Song Yan. When they returned, they did not spread the news. Therefore, not many people knew that Lu Ming had defeated Song Yan. Now that Luo Xian said it, everyone was shocked. Many people even suspected that Luo Xian was telling the truth. Even many of the older generation looked at Lu Ming curiously. Being able to defeat Song Yan was no small matter. Such a genius would have great achievements in the future. Naturally, he was worth paying attention to. Song Yan's face was extremely dark. Luo Xian was not giving him any face at all. He had actually revealed the matter of his defeat in front of everyone. During this time, I sent people to investigate this person, but they didn't find any clues. They couldn't find out his origin at all. This person's origin is unknown, so he is not qualified to participate in the competition. Song Yan shouted. The purpose of this competition is to congratulate the great emperor. As for the background of the participants, what does it matter? Luo Xian argued strongly. His origin is unknown. Who knows what he is plotting? Song Yan sneered. Great Emperor, what should we do? Up above, the Blue Demon King asked the ancient Great Emperor for instructions. I have already handed this matter over to you. You have full authority to handle it. The ancient Great Emperor waved his hand. He had no interest in the conflict between the younger generation. From his height, he only had the mentality of watching a good show. Only the Son of Heaven would be worthy of his attention. Yes, Great Emperor. The Blue Demon King bowed and then moved, appearing above Lu Ming and the others. What's going on? The Blue Demon King said in a dignified manner. It's like this, Luo Xian took the initiative to explain the situation. The Great Emperor has just passed a great tribulation. This is a grand event that only happens once every 300,000 years. There cannot be any mistakes. You withdraw. The Blue Demon King looked at Lu Ming and waved his hand. Lu Ming frowned. Luo Xian's face turned ugly. The Blue Demon King was not allowing Lu Ming to participate in the competition. A cold smile appeared on Song Yan's face. Not far away, Yu Ning, Ji Tian, and the others also revealed gloating smiles. Your Highness, I did defeat Song Yan, but you can't shield him because of this. Lu Ming said. His voice was very loud and spread in all directions. His meaning was clear. The Blue Demon King was deliberately making things difficult for him because of Zhang Yan. Impudent! What kind of attitude is this? How dare you doubt this king? The Blue Demon King shouted. A terrifying aura spread out from his body. He stared at Lu Ming and said, "Your origin is unknown. I am already merciful for not taking you down on the spot. How dare you speak so much? If you don't withdraw, don't blame this king for being impolite." The scene was silent. No one said anything. The Luo family head felt that the Blue Demon King had gone too far. He, the Blue Demon King, had great power in the ancient devil nation. It was not worthwhile for him to offend the Blue Demon King because of this matter. It was just that he could not participate in the competition. In his opinion, it was a small matter. However, this was a big matter for Lu Ming. It was related to the ancient devil coffin. But it was clear that the Blue Demon King would not give him this opportunity. The ancient great emperor looked on indifferently. Although he also felt that the Blue Demon King had gone too far, since he had let the Blue Demon King host, he would not say anything. "Why aren't you withdrawing?" The Azure Demon King bellowed again. His terrifying aura was like a tidal wave, pressing on Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body retreated continuously. He was under immense pressure. Lu Ming clenched his fists. He was extremely unwilling. But in the end, Lu Ming retreated. The Blue Demon King's strength was shocking. Even if he wasn't a great emperor, he was still a peak true emperor. It was impossible to fight him head-on. He had to think of another way. Zhang Yan's lips curled into a cold smile. The reason why he did not let Lu Ming participate was to take revenge on Lu Ming. The second reason was that Lu Ming's strength was too shocking. If Lu Ming participated, he would have no hope of getting into the top 3. The registration continued. It took half a day for the registration to end. After the registration, the competition began. It was very intense. However, all of this had nothing to do with Lu Ming. He sat in his seat, drinking while thinking about his next step. How could he borrow the ancient devil coffin for a month? For martial experts, even those who had reached the sage realm, it was normal for them to sit in the coffin for a few months. Therefore, the competition continued. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed. After a few days of competition, most of the people were eliminated. Only a few dozen people were left. These dozens of people were all extremely talented, and many of them even had king bodies. The land of myriad demons is indeed a warlike place. There is endless killing. The overall level of the prodigies is stronger than that of Yuan Mountain. Towards the end, Lu Ming also perked up and observed. He found that the number of geniuses in the land of myriad demons was about the same as that of Yuan Mountain, but the quality was higher. For example, the average cultivation of the geniuses in the land of myriad demons was higher than that of Yuan Mountain. Many of them had reached the absolute saint realm. There were even some who had reached the peak of the absolute saint realm. For example, Luo Xian had a monarch body at the peak of the absolute saint realm. However, she did not have the slightest advantage among these geniuses. There were at least 20 or 30 people who were not weaker than her. This was not all the geniuses in the land of myriad demons. It was only half of them. There were so many powerful geniuses who had reached the peak of the absolute saint realm. It was shocking. However, in the past few years, after the cultivation in the Origin Mountain's sacred courtyard, the competition, and the battle with the evil god tribe, many people's cultivation base had increased. Chapter 2045. The competition continued. Among them, 2 young men caught Lu Ming's attention. Because these 2 people were exceptionally powerful. They were 2 Elysian children. Children of the void, children of death. Lu Ming whispered. One of the 2 Elysian children controlled the law of nothingness, which was also one of the 10 strongest laws. It was extremely terrifying and could turn everything into nothingness. The other person actually controlled the law of death, just like Death Blade. Today was indeed a golden era. In the past, it was already very impressive for an Elysian child to appear. But now, Elysian children were appearing frequently. Even the same law had different people who had successfully cultivated it. This was only the land of Yuan Mountain and the land of infinite demons. One had to know that the Yuan realm had 10 lands. It was conceivable that there would be more than one Elysian child. It was conceivable that if Deathblade encountered this person, a great battle would probably break out. In addition to these two people, Song Yan's strength was indeed very strong. He was invincible and was a popular candidate for the top 3. After a few days of fierce battles, all the rankings were out. Luo Xian and Yu Ning were both ranked 22nd. They didn't even squeeze into the top 20. As for Ji Tian, he had cultivated the law of light and was indeed powerful. He had surged all the way to the top 10 and was ranked 6th. After all, there were very few people who could cultivate the law of light in the monarch body. And Song Yan, after a series of battles, finally defeated his competitors and obtained 3rd place. The 1st and 2nd place were naturally the 2 Elysian children. The 2 Elysian children's cultivation had reached the great circle of the Absolute Saint realm and were very close to the Quasi-Emperor realm. Moreover, they had cultivated the law of light. Their combat strength was too strong. The most exciting battle was the battle between the 2 Elysian children, which pushed the atmosphere to the peak. The law of nothingness and the law of death collided. These 2 laws were extremely overbearing. The 2's cultivation was also similar. The battle took 1,000 moves to determine the winner. In the end, the child of death narrowly won because of his mastery of the law of light. He was very close to the Quasi-Emperor realm. Amazing, amazing. Is this the battle strength of the Elysian children? It's really terrifying. Luo Xian blinked her big eyes in amazement. The Elysian child is indeed powerful. Below the martial emperor realm, ordinary martial artists are no match for the Elysian child. No matter how strong they are, it's useless. Yu Ning also sighed and glanced at Lu Ming intentionally or unintentionally. This meant that if one wasn't an Elysian child, no matter how strong one was, they wouldn't be a match for an Elysian child. Lu Ming smiled faintly and sighed inwardly. If he made a move, he would definitely be able to enter the top 3. Although the 2 Elysian children were strong, he was not afraid. What a pity. Lu Ming sighed, picked up a cup of wine, and drank it in one gulp. Yu Ning thought that Lu Ming had realized the difference between him and the Elysian child, which was why he was acting like this. She sneered. Those ranked in the top 3 can make a request to me. Come forward. At this moment, the ancient great emperor's voice sounded. The 2 Elysian children and Song Yan stepped forward. At this moment, Song Yan was extremely excited. If he made a request to the great emperor, he had to make sure that this request was of the greatest value to him, the most beneficial value to him. Should I ask for an ancient scripture or take the opportunity to become the great emperor's disciple? Song Yan's mind spun rapidly, and his body trembled with excitement. Ha ha ha, since it's so lively today, I'll join in the fun. At this moment, a loud laugh resounded through the sky. Rumble. 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 The sky rumbled as if a huge monster was about to break through the void. Many experts' faces darkened as they looked at the void in the distance. Rip. In the next moment, the void cracked open, and an incomparably huge battleship sailed out of the dark void. The battleship was 10,000 meters long, and it was pitch black. It gave off a terrifying pressure. That's the Undying Demon Kingdom's undying battleship. Someone exclaimed. Many people were shocked. The Undying Demon Kingdom was another super demon kingdom that was as famous as the ancient demon kingdom. 2 tigers could not live on one mountain. The 2 super demon kingdoms were naturally hostile, and there would often be conflicts and wars. The undying battleship of the Undying Demon Kingdom had broken through the void and arrived. A group of people stood on the deck of the battleship. The person in the lead was a middle-aged burly man. He was wearing a long robe and had a domineering aura. Undying, what are you doing here? The ancient great emperor looked at the burly man and said coldly. Many people were shocked. In the Undying Demon Kingdom, only one person dared to use this title, and that was the ruler of the Undying Demon Kingdom, the Undying Emperor. Just like the ancient great emperor, every ruler of the Undying Demon Kingdom used the title of Undying Emperor. Ancient Immortal, you've finally survived the calamity. Of course I'm here to congratulate you. Why? Don't you welcome me? The Undying Emperor laughed. You're a guest. Come and sit down. The ancient great emperor said, and then ordered people to prepare seats. Let's go. The Undying Emperor said. Many people followed him and jumped down from the battleship. Those who followed the Undying Emperor were experts of the older generation, and there were also experts of the younger generation. The Undying Emperor glanced around, and his gaze fell on the young Skyprides on the battle stage. At this moment, the top 30 Skyprides were still standing on the battle stage. The top 3 could make a request to the ancient great emperor. The top 10 would be rewarded handsomely, and the top 30 would also be rewarded. That was why they were waiting there. The ancient demon kingdom is indeed full of geniuses. The Skyprides of my Undying Demon Kingdom are also tempted. They want to spar with the Skyprides of the ancient demon kingdom. Ancient Immortal, what do you think? The Undying Emperor laughed. They're here. Many people felt their hearts trembling. Indeed, the people from the Undying Devil Empire didn't come here with good intentions. They wouldn't be here just to congratulate the ancient emperor. Alright, I have the same idea. Let the two Skyprides spar. It's good for them too. The ancient great emperor said. He could not refuse. Otherwise, people would think that the ancient demon kingdom was afraid of the Undying Demon Kingdom. Alright, The Undying Emperor laughed. He then looked at the young men behind him and said, have fun with the Skyprides of the ancient demon kingdom. Remember, don't embarrass me. Yes, great emperor. The Skyprides cupped their fists. I'll go first. Then, a young man from the Undying Demon Kingdom leaped onto the battle stage. He looked arrogant as he scanned the Skyprides of the ancient demon kingdom and said, my name is Yuan Tua. I have the king body. I've just reached the great circle of the Saint Realm. Who wants to spar with me? The Skyprides of the ancient demon kingdom fell silent. Many of them looked around, but no one stepped forward. The Undying Demon Kingdom did not have good intentions. Their Skyprides would not be weak. They did not know how strong their opponent was, so they did not dare to act rashly. If they lost, it would be embarrassing. Chapter 2046. What? You don't dare to fight me? Yuan Tua sneered. Let me fight you. Someone shouted and stepped out. It was Luo Xian. What a beautiful woman. Don't worry. I'm a person who has tender feelings for the fairer sex. I'll be merciful later. Yuan Tua laughed. Shameless boasting. Luo Xian said coldly. She was unhappy with Yuan Tua. The two of them stood facing each other, and their auras spread out. The geniuses in the fighting ring flew down and stood outside the fighting ring. Pretty lady, I'm rank 25 in the Immortal Demon Nation. I wonder what your rank is in the Ancient Demon Nation? Yuan Tua laughed. 22. Luo Xian replied coldly. 22. I can defeat you. Yuan Tua laughed, and his aura became stronger. He then rushed toward Luo Xian. Judgment. Luo Xian said softly and used her judgment law to fight against Yuan Tua. Boom! There was a loud explosion, and the two of them were forced back. They were evenly matched. Yuan Tuo's face turned serious, and he charged toward Luo Xian. Luo Xian fought back. The two of them fought fiercely. Yuan Tua was strong. He had a king body, and he was not weaker than Luo Xian. The two of them exchanged dozens of blows, but they were still evenly matched. However, the faces of many people from the ancient devil nation turned grim. Yuan Tuo said that he was only ranked 25 in the immortal demon nation, while Luo Xian was ranked 22. If they were evenly matched, wouldn't it mean that the ancient demon nation was weaker? Boom! Boom! In the fighting ring, the two of them exchanged dozens of blows, but they were still evenly matched. At this moment, Yuan Tuo's eyes turned cold. He was the first one to fight, and a draw was not the result he wanted. Swoosh! Swoosh! Yuan Tuo suddenly changed his moves. His claws were like lightning, and he grabbed at Luo Xian's chest and other private areas. Luo Xian's face turned ugly. She was flustered, and she was at a disadvantage. Despicable! How dare you use such a despicable method? Someone from the ancient demon nation shouted. What a joke! In a battle of life and death, any method can be used. If you don't know this, how can you cultivate the demon nation? Someone from the immortal demon nation sneered, and the people from the ancient demon nation were unhappy. Bang! Luo Xian was at a disadvantage. Finally, he was no match for his opponent. After receiving a blow from his opponent, he was forced to retreat as blood spilled from his mouth. Whoosh! Yuan Tuo continued his frenzied attacks. Luo Xian was injured and was at a complete disadvantage. A beauty like jade, let me have a taste of a beauty's touch. Yuan Tuo sneered coldly as he approached Luo Xian and secretly transmitted his voice to him. Luo Xian gritted his teeth in anger, but he was indeed no match for his opponent. After a few moves, he was sent flying again. Luo Xian gritted his teeth and rushed down the fighting ring. She understood that she had already lost this battle. If she continued to fight, she would only be humiliated by her opponent. Where are you going? Yuan Tuo's figure was extremely fast. He quickly approached Luo Xian and blasted a palm towards Luo Xian. Luo Xian could not avoid this attack. In his seat, Lu Ming had been paying close attention to the situation on the fighting stage. At this moment, his eyes turned cold, and his body shot out explosively. Even from a distance, he blasted out a palm strike. A palm print formed and blasted towards Yuan Tuo. Those above Martial Emperor would not be able to make a move. However, as a member of the younger generation, he could. Yuan Tuo's expression changed. He blasted out a blow with all his might and collided with Lu Ming's palm print. Then, his body shook violently, and he could not help but take a few steps back. Whoosh! Lu Ming rushed forward, grabbed Luo Xian's slender waist and returned to the fighting ring. Boy, you interfered in our battle. Are you trying to break the rules? Yuan Tuo said with a gloomy face. Luo Xian's body has already flown out of the fighting ring, which is equivalent to admitting defeat. If you continue to attack, you are the one who broke the rules first. Lu Ming said lightly. Luo Xian's body had indeed flown out of the fighting ring. Once her body flew out of the fighting ring, it was equivalent to admitting defeat. Since Yuan Tuo was still attacking, Lu Ming could naturally help. Humph, boy, you want to be the hero who saves the beauty? I'd like to see what you're capable of. A wisp of killing intent flashed in Yuan Tuo's eyes. His powerful aura locked onto Lu Ming. Lu Ming let go of Luo Xian and was about to attack. However, at this moment, a voice sounded. Lu Ming, what are you doing? This has nothing to do with you. Get out of the fighting ring. Song Yan landed on the fighting ring and looked coldly at Lu Ming. He scolded, since when is it your turn to interfere with someone who isn't even qualified to participate in the battle? Of course, we will be the ones to fight with the geniuses of the immortal devil kingdom. Get out. Lu Ming's eyes flashed coldly. Finally, he sneered, oh, I'll leave it to you. Luo Xian, let's go. Lu Ming and Luo Xian moved and returned to their seats. Do you want to continue the battle? Song Yan looked at Yuan Tuo. What's your ranking in the ancient devil kingdom? Yuan Tuo asked. Third. Song Yan replied arrogantly, revealing a hint of pride. You want to fight me, who is ranked 25th in the immortal devil kingdom? Yuan Tua revealed a mocking expression. If you want to fight, I will send someone else to fight with you. Song Yen said. He used the word send, as if everyone had to listen to his orders. I won one battle. I won't fight. Yuan Tua smiled and left the fighting ring. Then, another young man from the immortal devil kingdom appeared. I'm Ao Xian, ranked 15th in the immortal devil kingdom. Who wants to fight me? Ao Xian's voice rang out. I'll fight you. A young man from the ancient devil kingdom stepped onto the fighting ring. He was also ranked 15th in the ancient devil kingdom. The battle broke out, but the result made the people from the ancient devil kingdom pale. In just a few dozen moves, the genius from the ancient devil kingdom was defeated. They were both ranked 15th, but the genius from the ancient devil kingdom was no match for Ao Xian. Didn't this mean that the ancient devil kingdom was inferior to Ao Xian? Who wants to fight me? After Ao Xian won, he did not retreat. He wanted to continue the battle. Then, the genius from the ancient devil kingdom who was ranked 13th went up to fight Ao Xian. The two of them exchanged a few hundred moves, but the result was still Ao Xian coming out on top. Then, the sparring continued. However, the genius from the ancient devil kingdom was at a disadvantage. The two countries were ranked the same. In fact, the geniuses from the ancient devil kingdom who were ranked slightly higher were no match for the geniuses from the immortal devil kingdom. Only those who were ranked 3 or even 4 places higher than the geniuses from the ancient devil kingdom could fight or even defeat them. A day later, the genius from the ancient devil kingdom who was ranked 6th defeated the genius from the ancient devil kingdom who was ranked 4th. Swoosh! Then, another young man from the immortal devil kingdom stepped onto the fighting ring. This person was ranked 4th in the immortal devil kingdom. I heard that the top 3 geniuses from the ancient devil kingdom are all incredible geniuses. Who is ranked 3rd? Come out and fight. This person said. Song Yen stepped out with a pale face. Boom! The two of them started the fight, and an intense battle broke out. Chapter 2047. That's the law of 10,000 magic. Someone exclaimed as they recognized the law. The law of 10,000 magic was also the law of kings, and it was extremely terrifying. It was most suitable for demonic cultivators. Once the law of 10,000 magic was used, it was as if it could summon the will of an ancient demon and attack the enemy with it. It was very terrifying. Although their cultivation levels were similar, Song Yen was at a disadvantage as soon as they started fighting. He roared and tried his best to fight with his opponent, but after dozens of moves, he was still no match for him. He was sent flying out of the fighting ring and vomited blood. He was defeated after dozens of moves, and his opponent was only ranked 4th in the undying demonic kingdom. Didn't that mean that there were 3 more geniuses who were stronger than him? Could it be that his opponent had 3 sons of heaven? Impossible. I've always heard that the undying demonic kingdom only has 2 sons of heaven. How is that possible? This person cultivates the law of 10,000 magic and has the light of the law. His combat strength is amazing. Other than the sons of heaven, who else is stronger than him? Everyone was talking about it. The experts of the ancient demonic kingdom had ugly looks on their faces. The ancient great emperor's face was ugly as well. Today was the day to celebrate his passing of the tribulation, but the undying demonic kingdom had come and challenged him with a younger generation. This was equivalent to slapping his face. However, the ancient demonic kingdom was still at a disadvantage. Whoosh! At this time, another figure rushed into the fighting ring. The Son of the Void. Many people were shocked. It was the Son of the Void of the ancient demonic kingdom, who was ranked 2nd. The Son of the Void stepped toward the expert of the undying demonic kingdom. His powerful aura made his opponent's face extremely serious. Your opponent is me. At this time, a young man from the undying demonic kingdom also rushed into the fighting ring, and his aura rushed toward the Son of the Void. Boom! The Son of the Void's figure was blocked. It's the law of void again. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly narrowed. The genius of the undying demonic kingdom also mastered the law of void, which was the same as the son of the void of the ancient demonic kingdom. Two sons of the void. In the land of myriad devils, there are two sons of the void. Two super devil nations each have one. These two are fated rivals. When they first rose to prominence, they often fought each other. Almost every year, they would fight. Even now, it's difficult to determine a victor. Luo Xian's voice sounded in Lu Ming's ears as he explained to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. Different people grasping the same ultimate law. They were indeed fated rivals. Everyone wanted to be the strongest. Only by stepping on their opponents could they truly climb to the top. This was much more meaningful than defeating the other Elysian children. Thus, if two Elysian children of the same level were to meet, a battle would definitely erupt. Unless the difference in cultivation level between the two sides was too great. If that was the case, there would be no point in fighting. Boom! The two fated opponents understood each other too well. Without any superfluous words, they started fighting. The terrifying law of nothingness continued to collide. It was as if everything was about to turn into nothingness. At the same time, the son of death, who was ranked first in the ancient devil nation, soared through the air, surrounded by the law of death. His gaze landed on a genius from the undying devil nation. Whoosh! That genius also soared into the sky and stood opposite the son of death. A terrifying aura burst out from his body, and a mysterious law burst out at the same time. It's the law of primordial chaos. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He finally saw a new law of primordial chaos. Among the 10 ultimate laws, the law of primordial chaos was the most similar to the law of primordial chaos. He still had 3 strands of primordial chaos in his hands. The two Elysian children stood opposite each other. Their auras clashed, forming a terrifying storm. The two of us have fought more than once. It's hard to determine the winner. The son of primordial chaos said. As the top genius of the land of myriad devils, they naturally knew each other. Moreover, they had fought more than once. You don't have the confidence to defeat me. It's meaningless for you to come here today. The son of death said coldly. Although the other geniuses from the undying devil nation had the upper hand, they couldn't defeat the Elysian children. Even if they had the upper hand before, it was meaningless. The ones fighting you today are not us. The son of primordial chaos said. What did he mean? Many people were shocked. If they weren't the ones fighting the son of death, who else could it be? Could it be that there were other Elysian children in the undying devil nation? I can tell you that in the past, I was ranked first in the undying devil nation. But now, I'm ranked second. The son of primordial chaos said. The people from the ancient devil nation were shocked. The son of primordial chaos was ranked second? Could it be that he had been defeated by the son of the void? However, the son of the void's cultivation had not reached the peak of the great circle of the absolute saint realm. Moreover, even if he had reached the peak of the great circle of the absolute saint realm, he might not be able to defeat the son of primordial chaos. Apart from the son of the void, the undying devil nation had someone stronger than the son of primordial chaos? Everyone couldn't calm down. Bang! Bang! At this time, a young man stepped out from the undying devil nation's side. Every step he took caused the void to rumble. He was an ordinary-looking young man. He wore a black short-sleeved shirt with his arms exposed. His arms were pitch black like demonic iron and seemed to be filled with explosive power. His eyes were pitch black, but they shone with ambition. Everyone from the ancient devil nation turned to look at this person. Could he be the #1 genius of the undying devil nation? Stronger than the son of primordial chaos? Impossible. His cultivation seems to be at the great circle of the absolute saint realm. How can he be stronger than the son of primordial chaos? That's right. It's said that the son of primordial chaos's cultivation has reached the peak of the great circle of the absolute saint realm. He's only a step away from entering the boundary Emperor realm. He's on par with the Son of Death. Many people from the ancient Devil Nation discussed among themselves. They couldn't figure it out. Even the ancient Great Emperor and other experts looked at the young man curiously. Lu Ming also looked at the young man. He could vaguely feel that the young man gave him a strong pressure. It was as if the young man's body contained a terrifying power. He didn't feel this kind of pressure even when facing Heng Xinghe or the son of primordial chaos. "My name is Ancient Devil," the young man said calmly. His voice reverberated throughout the area. After he finished speaking, he looked at the Son of Death and said, "Today, your opponent is me." Boom! At this moment, the two Sons of the Void exchanged a blow and retreated simultaneously. The Son of the Void from the ancient Devil Nation looked at Ancient Devil coldly. "You want to fight us? Then let's see what you're capable of." The Son of the Void from the ancient Devil Nation was extremely domineering. With a wave of his hand, a ray of void light shot towards Ancient Devil. This void light was extremely terrifying. As long as it swept past, everything would turn into nothingness. Boom! Ancient Devil attacked. Chapter 2048. The Ancient Devil punched out. His fist was covered with a layer of black light. Boom! The punch seemed to tear the space apart as it collided with the law of nothingness. What was shocking was that when the punch landed on the law of nothingness, the law of nothingness shook violently as if it was about to be torn apart by the ancient devil's punch. What a terrifying attack! But why can't I feel the fluctuation of the law from him? I don't feel it either. What's going on? Some people were discussing in shock. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He was surprised. He did not feel the power of the law from the ancient devil either. He only felt the extremely condensed explosive power and attack that seemed to be able to tear apart all the laws. Could it be, some of the older generation figures seemed to have realized something and were shocked? Kill! The Son of the Void of the ancient Devil Nation roared. A ray of light of nothingness spread out and enveloped his body. He exploded with all his strength. The law of nothingness and saint power combined to form a demonic blade. Blades of nothingness, turn into nothingness. The Son of the Void's eyes were filled with cold murderous intent. He waved his arms, and the blades of nothingness shot toward the ancient devil. As long as one was hit by the blades of nothingness, everything would turn into nothingness. Not even the most basic particles would be left behind. This was the terror of the law of nothingness. However, the ancient devil was not afraid at all. His body was covered in a layer of black demonic light. He kept punching with his fists. Dong! Dong! His fists kept colliding with the blades of nothingness. A deafening roar sounded in the sky. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged more than a dozen blows. Bam! Bam! After more than a dozen blows, the blades of nothingness were shattered by the ancient devil and exploded. The ancient devil stepped into the air. Demonic light shrouded him. He was extremely domineering. It was as if a real ancient demon god had awakened. Boom! The ancient devil launched a storm-like attack, suppressing the Son of the Void and forcing him to retreat. At the scene, the ancient Devil Nation, whether it was the Emperor-level experts or the younger generation figures, were shocked beyond words. The Son of the Void was suppressed in just a dozen blows. This was something that even the Son of Death, who was ranked first, could not do. Furthermore, they did not sense any law fluctuations from the ancient devil's body. How can he be so terrifying? I can feel that his cultivation is at the peak of the absolute saint realm, but why is his battle prowess so terrifying? He's even stronger than the Elysian child. What law does he control? I can't sense the power of laws. Voices rang out one after another. Their voices were filled with disbelief. Could it be an archaic devil cultivator? It must be. It must be an immemorial demonic cultivator. Otherwise, they wouldn't have such terrifying power. I didn't expect that immemorial demonic cultivators would appear in the Yuan realm. At this moment, several white-haired old men spoke. Their voices were filled with shock and seriousness. Primordial devil cultivator. Many people were dumbfounded. This was the first time they had heard of this term. The history of cultivation in the heaven realm far exceeds that of the primordial realm. Legend has it that in the primordial age of the heaven realm, the cultivation system was completely different from the current cultivation system. At that time, the path of cultivation did not cultivate the power of laws. Instead, it focused more on one's own body. Those who succeeded in cultivation would have extremely terrifying offensive power. There was a saying that one's strength could break through all techniques. The primordial cultivation system was divided into many types. The primordial demonic cultivators of that time were the true demonic cultivators. Their demonic origin was shocking, and their offensive power was unparalleled. An old man muttered and said a bunch of things. Everyone was shocked. The primordial cultivation system. Could it be that the ancient devil cultivated the primordial cultivation system? The ancient devil should have cultivated the primordial demonic path. However, the primordial cultivation system is extremely difficult to cultivate. It's even more difficult to cultivate it successfully. Later on, after the rise of the law system, the primordial cultivation system slowly disappeared. There are very few in the heaven realm. I didn't expect the primordial cultivation system to appear in the Yuan realm. Beside Lu Ming and the others, Patriarch Luo sighed. He had also heard some rumors. Some old men sighed. In fact, the current demonic cultivators could no longer be considered true demonic cultivators. Luo Xian, Wu Shi, and the others were shocked. At this moment, the ancient devil had completely gained the upper hand. The son of the void kept retreating. In the end, the ancient devil punched through the law of nothingness. The law of nothingness was said to be able to turn everything into nothingness. However, it couldn't break the layer of demonic light on the ancient devil's body. Instead, the demonic light pierced through the law of nothingness. At the same time, the demonic light whistled and almost tore the son of the void's law light apart. The son of the void frantically retreated and spat out a mouthful of blood. You've lost. The ancient devil stood in the air and said indifferently. He looked ordinary, but he had an invincible belief. The son of the void's face was pale. He had been defeated in just a few moves. Moreover, his opponent's cultivation wasn't higher than his. They were at the same level. This was a huge blow to him. Every son of the heavens had an invincible belief. They believed that they could defeat all strong opponents and reach the peak. The reason he had lost to the son of death was that the son of death had broken through to the great circle of the saint realm longer than him. His mastery of the law was stronger than his. When he caught up in this aspect, he wouldn't lose. But now, he had lost to the ancient devil. The son of the void's expression changed. In the end, he shook his head and sighed. He landed on a seat and circulated his energy to heal his injuries. At this moment, the ancient devil looked at the son of death. Do you still want to fight? The ancient devil asked indifferently. The son of death of the ancient devil nation was called Gulong. His expression was solemn. The ancient devil's meaning was obvious. Gulong was only slightly stronger than the son of the void. However, the ancient devil could easily crush the son of the void. It was obvious who was stronger. Was there a need to fight again? Let's fight. Gulong was very straightforward. He stepped out and the light of death surrounded his body. Let's decide this in one move. If I can't defeat you in one move, I'll admit defeat. Gulong stared at the ancient devil. Up to you. The ancient devil said indifferently, showing his strong confidence. Many people from the ancient devil nation were nervous. Gulong was their last hope. If even Gulong was defeated, then the ancient devil nation would definitely suffer a crushing defeat. The ancient great emperor's face was gloomy. He knew that the undying emperor was here to slap him in the face. Just when he had passed the Great Tribulation and the nation was celebrating, the undying emperor came to slap him in the face. On the battle stage, Gulong and the ancient devil faced each other. Their auras were getting stronger and stronger. When it reached its peak, Gulong made his move. Abyss of Death. Gulong waved his hands. As he waved his hands, a huge abyss appeared out of thin air. This abyss was huge and as black as ink. It was filled with the aura of death, as if it wanted to bury everything under the abyss. Although Gulong and the Undying Blade both controlled the law of death, the way they used it was very different. Chapter 2049. The Death Abyss was as dark as ink and unfathomable. The moment it appeared, it pressed down on the ancient devil, suppressing him within the abyss. Success! Some of the people from the ancient devil nation were overjoyed. Previously, Gulong had used this move to defeat the Son of the Void. Even the law of the Void could not break the Death Abyss. All living beings will die if they fall into the Death Abyss, Gulong said as he exploded. The death chi in the Death Abyss was extremely dense. But in the next moment, Gulong's face changed. Dong! A deafening explosion could be heard from the Death Abyss. Dong! Dong! Following that, the explosion in the Death Abyss became more intense. In the end, the entire Death Abyss shook violently. After a series of explosions, the Abyss of Death suddenly exploded as a figure covered in a demonic glow appeared in the sky like a peerless demon. As for Gulong, the moment the Death Abyss was broken, he retreated with blood flowing out of his mouth. Defeated. The Son of Death, Gulong, was defeated. At this moment, many of the people from the ancient devil nation turned pale. The strongest person from the ancient devil nation had been defeated. This time, the ancient devil nation had suffered a crushing defeat. Just the ancient devil alone was enough to wipe out all of them. How could the Son of Heaven be defeated? Some of the young people found it even more unbelievable. The Son of Heaven was almost invincible among those of the same level. But now, the Son of Heaven was defeated. Many of the young people felt their confidence crumbling. Ancient devil nation, the geniuses of your ancient devil nation aren't that great. Is there anyone else who wants to give it a try? The Undying Emperor laughed heartily. The Undying Devil Nation and the Ancient Devil Nation were two super devil nations in the land of infinite devils. They had been competing with each other for a long time. The Undying Emperor was naturally happy to be able to slap the Ancient Great Emperor in the face. The other people from the Ancient Devil Nation did not look too good. Slapping the Ancient Great Emperor in the face was equivalent to humiliating them. To think that the Undying Devil Nation has someone who has cultivated the primordial demon Tao to such a level. This is rare. The Ancient Great Emperor spoke. This person is a legendary genius of my Undying Devil Kingdom. He hasn't been able to awaken his bloodline since he was a child, much less comprehend concepts or control laws. But, this boy has his own lucky chance. He accidentally obtained a cultivation method of the ancient demon path. I never imagined that he would be a peerless genius that cultivates the ancient demon path. After cultivating the ancient demon path, his strength has soared by leaps and bounds. Undead Emperor was very proud, and he introduced Ancient Devil. Many people were shocked. They had not expected that the Ancient Devil could not cultivate the martial way of the present, nor could he comprehend the concepts and laws. However, he was incomparably suited for the ancient demon path. He was a peerless genius who cultivated the ancient demon path. The ancient cultivation system was extremely difficult to cultivate, and it was many times more difficult than the current cultivation system. Otherwise, it would not have been gradually lost. Furthermore, it didn't mean that just by cultivating the primeval demon path, one would be able to crush the current cultivation system and even defeat the Elysian child. Only the most exceptional of geniuses could reach the level of the ancient devil. Primordial cultivation system, primordial demonic Tao. Lu Ming muttered, and his eyes were filled with a strong battle intent. This was the first time Lu Ming had encountered and heard of the primordial cultivation system. The primordial era of the heavenly world was an era even earlier than the ancient era. At that time, the evil god tribe had not yet started their invasion. Lu Ming was really excited to see the ancient devil, and he wondered if he should take action and fight with him. "Kid, you, come up." Just as Lu Ming was thinking, a voice rang out. A young man from the undead devil kingdom stepped onto the battle stage and looked at Lu Ming. That's right, he was looking at Lu Ming. This young man was the one who had defeated Luo Xian, and Lu Ming had saved Luo Xian, and he was called Yuan Tua. Previously, he had been careless and had been pushed back by Lu Ming. He felt that he had lost face, and he was in a bad mood. He had been thinking about how to ruthlessly beat up Lu Ming to regain his face. Now that the battle had ended, he finally found an opportunity to step onto the battle stage. You. Aren't you very strong? Didn't you want to be the hero who saved the beauty? Come up and fight with me. Let's see what you're capable of." Yuan Tua stared at Lu Ming and shouted again. Lu Ming laughed. He really laughed. He had been looking for an opportunity to show off. Firstly, he wanted to attract the attention of the ancient great emperor. Secondly, he did want to fight with the ancient devil. Therefore, Lu Ming did not hesitate and stepped onto the battle stage. On the ancient devil kingdom side, some people looked at Lu Ming curiously. This was because Luo Xian had said that Lu Ming had defeated Song Yan. They did not know if it was true or not. "Make your move. I'll give you a chance to make your move." With one hand behind his back, Lu Ming spoke nonchalantly with a contemptuous look on his face. Of course, he did it on purpose. As expected, Yuan Tua was angry. "You're courting death." Yuan Tua shouted. He channeled all his strength and rushed towards Lu Ming with a swoosh, throwing out a punch. This punch was like a demonic bull galloping. It was like a sharp horn piercing toward Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming's move was simple. He threw out a punch. However, he did not use the law of array. Instead, he used the suppressing hell skill. The power of the suppressing hell skill was completely contained in his fist. It clashed with Yuan Tuo's fist. Dong! Like a drum, the sky buzzed. Then, a figure flew back and fell a few hundred meters away. This figure was naturally Yuan Tua. Initially, many people from the ancient devil kingdom were dispirited because of the defeat of the two Elysian children. But now, their eyes lit up. To be able to defeat Yuan Tua in one move, his combat strength was not weak. Could it be that what Luo Xian said was true? Lu Ming had defeated Song Yan. Yuan Tua struggled to get up. His face was flushed red. He had challenged Lu Ming to defeat Lu Ming to regain his face. He did not expect to be defeated by Lu Ming in one move. He was sent flying a few hundred meters away. Not only did he not regain his face, he was even more embarrassed. He regretted it and was so angry that he almost vomited blood. "You! What's your rank in the ancient devil kingdom?" Yuan Tua gritted his teeth and asked. If Lu Ming was ranked high in the ancient devil kingdom, he would not be so embarrassed after being defeated. "Nameless," Lu Ming said calmly. He did not participate in the ancient devil kingdom's battle, so he was indeed nameless. However, when the sky prides of the ancient devil kingdom heard this, they felt that Lu Ming was humiliating them on purpose. How could a nameless person defeat Yuan Tua? You're trying to humiliate us in this way, aren't you? Let me fight you. A young man from the ancient devil kingdom snorted. He took a step forward and appeared in the fighting ring, facing Lu Ming. Chapter 2050. Make your move. Lu Ming said calmly. That person moved and slashed out a vast demonic blade. Its power was indeed stronger than Yuan Tuo's. However, Lu Ming threw a punch, directly crushing the other party's saber gleam and sending the other party flying. One move, another move. His opponent had a king body at the peak of the absolute saint realm, so his combat power was definitely strong. However, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the peak of the absolute saint realm, but he was able to defeat his opponent with one move, which shocked many people. What a strong combat power! One punch and he's able to destroy everything. His fighting style is a bit like the ancient devils. There are no law fluctuations. Someone was puzzled. I heard that he defeated Song Yan before. I was skeptical, but now it seems that it might be true. Someone thought of Luo Xian's words. Song Yan's face was extremely pale. Some people might not have taken Luo Xian's words seriously, but Lu Ming's real strength confirmed Luo Xian's words. He had been defeated by Lu Ming before. Lu Ming, get off the fighting ring. You're just a nobody. You're not qualified to fight on the fighting ring. Song Yan shouted, asking Lu Ming to get off the fighting ring. Lu Ming glanced coldly at Song Yan and scolded, "This is between me and the elites of the immortal demon kingdom." "Shut up, you piece of trash." What did you say?" Song Yan was furious after being called a piece of trash by Lu Ming in public. He glared at Lu Ming. "You've been defeated by me, and you've been defeated by the people of the immortal demon kingdom. How dare you talk nonsense here? If you're not a piece of trash, what are you? If I were you, I would destroy my own cultivation. What's the point of practicing martial arts?" Lu Ming shouted. "You," Song Yan's body trembled, and his face turned red. "How dare you? You're so young, yet you're so vicious. You want to ruin my mental state? You deserve to die." The Blue Demon King coldly shouted, his eyes filled with ice-cold killing intent. A powerful aura enveloped Lu Ming. "Song Mo, it's best that you don't interfere in the matters of the younger generation." At this moment, the ancient great emperor spoke indifferently. With a slight wave of his hand, the Blue Demon King's aura disappeared without a trace. Previously, in the contest between the ancient devil nation, he had given the authority to the Blue Demon King. Since the other party did not allow Lu Ming to participate, he could not be bothered to interfere. But now, the ancient devil nation had been defeated time and time again, and they had lost all face. On the other hand, Lu Ming had just defeated 2 people in a row, and he had regained some face. Naturally, he would not allow the Blue Demon King to act recklessly. When the ancient great emperor spoke, the Blue Demon King's expression changed greatly. He hurriedly bowed and sat down. However, his icy gaze still swept over Lu Ming from time to time. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, more sky prides from the undying devil nation flashed and landed on the battle stage. They wanted to challenge Lu Ming. "You're not my match." Lu Ming shook his head. He did not look at these people anymore. Instead, he stepped into the air and walked toward the ancient devil. What is he doing? Many people were stunned. Lu Ming was walking toward the ancient devil. Even the Elysian children were flabbergasted. Lu Ming came to the front of the ancient devil, his eyes filled with intense battle intent. "This is the first time I've encountered the ancient devil path. Fight with me," Lu Ming said. His voice was clear and calm. However, it was like a gust of wind that swept in all directions. Everyone was stunned. Lu Ming was going to challenge the ancient devil? I didn't hear wrongly, right? He's going to challenge the ancient devil? It's true. I heard it too. He's going to challenge the ancient devil. He's crazy. He's crazy. Many people shouted loudly. To them, this was simply inconceivable. Lu Ming was going to challenge the ancient devil. Just now, the ancient devil had displayed his terrifying strength and defeated 2 Elysian children in a row. His battle strength was shocking. But now, Lu Ming was going to challenge the ancient devil? Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the peak of the absolute saint realm. Although he had shown strong battle strength and had easily defeated Yuan Tua and the others, and it was rumored that he had defeated Song Yan. But so what? They were not on the same level at all. Someone like Song Yan would probably be crushed by the ancient devil in one move. Many people thought that Lu Ming was crazy. Luo Xian, Wu Shi, and the Luo family head were also dumbfounded. Although Lu Ming was powerful, he could not be compared to the ancient demon, who was a rare genius in this world. You overestimate yourself. You think you can be arrogant just because you have some strength? Yu Ning mocked coldly. He's just playing to the gallery. He's just playing to the gallery. Song Yan mocked loudly. He thought that Lu Ming was just playing to the gallery. The ancient great emperor, the undying emperor, and the other top experts were all curious. Knowing the ancient devil's battle strength, he still dared to challenge him in public. Was he really playing to the gallery? Just as everyone was having various thoughts or discussing fervently, Lu Ming's aura suddenly erupted. Boom! Saint power surged out of Lu Ming's body like a mighty river. It turned into a pillar of saint power and shot into the sky. What a strong saint power, what a condensed saint power. This saint power fluctuation is no weaker than a complete absolute saint. Even at the peak of the absolute saint realm, he has such strong saint power. No wonder his battle strength is so strong. Feeling Lu Ming's saint power, some people were shocked and disgusted. But the next moment, the crowd quieted down. In the void, a gray light flashed and intertwined with Lu Ming's saint power, making Lu Ming's aura stronger. The law. The law of chaos. Everyone could tell at a glance that this was the law of chaos. But this was not the end. In the next moment, a halo surrounded Lu Ming, making Lu Ming look like a god of war. This was the light of chaos. At this moment, many people's expressions were extremely interesting. For example, Yu Ning, Ji Tian, Song Yan, and the others opened their mouths so wide that they could swallow a dead mouse. And their expressions were full of shock, disbelief as if they had really swallowed a dead mouse. Luo Xian's mouth was slightly open, and her face was full of surprise. The son of chaos, it's the son of chaos. At this moment, someone finally yelled. The crowd was in an uproar. The son of chaos, so Lu Ming was the son of chaos. No wonder Lu Ming's battle strength was so strong and he was so confident. He said that the other skyprides of the Undying Empire were no match for him and challenged the ancient devil directly. The son of chaos, who had cultivated the law of chaos, was indeed qualified to challenge the ancient devil. Those who thought Lu Ming was playing to the gallery and that Lu Ming was overestimating himself, or that he was crazy, all shut up. The ancient great emperor's eyes flashed with surprise. He did not expect that in the ancient devil nation, there was another son of chaos besides the son of death and the son of nothingness. Ancient devil nation, such a sky pride, is not famous in the ancient devil nation. Ha ha ha. Is this how the eternal devil kingdom treats an Elysian child? You've really impressed me. The undying emperor laughed loudly. The ancient great emperor's face darkened slightly. Chapter 2051. This has nothing to do with the great emperor. It's just that some people don't think he's qualified, so I didn't participate in the competition. Lu Ming replied. He still needed to borrow the immemorial demonic coffin from the ancient great emperor, so he naturally had to speak up for the ancient great emperor. Oh, some people are really blind. The undying emperor said with a smile. The Blue Demon King and Song Yan's faces darkened. Lu Ming deserves to die. The two of them roared in their hearts. The undying heavenly emperor was referring to them when he said that they were blind. However, they did not dare to be hostile to the undying heavenly emperor. They could only blame everything on Lu Ming. The ancient devil looked at Lu Ming in surprise, then shook his head and said, "You're no match for me." His voice was calm, but it was filled with confidence. Even Gulong, who had reached the peak of the absolute saint realm, wasn't his match. How could Lu Ming be his match? How would we know if we don't fight? Lu Ming followed suit and spoke confidently. The ancient devil was surprised. Lu Ming knew his combat strength, but he was still so confident. Could it be that he was really confident? Then let's fight. The ancient devil said, and a terrifying aura emanated from his body. A dark demonic light enveloped him. Boom! Lu Ming made the first move. He was still using the hell-suppressing heaven skill. However, this time, the suppressing hell skill was supported by the law of chaos and the chaotic light. Boom! The sky shook, and the space rippled like water. A terrifying power surged toward the ancient devil. The ancient devil's body shook, and a demonic light burst out. He threw out a punch and collided with Lu Ming. Dong! A deafening explosion sounded, and a terrifying power swept out in all directions. Some of the power landed on the fighting ring, causing it to shake violently. Boom! 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 A figure took 3 steps back, and the space around him exploded. It was Lu Ming. In this collision, Lu Ming was at a disadvantage and was forced to retreat. On the other hand, the ancient demon did not move. Lu Ming was defeated in the end. Some people sighed inwardly. In the first move, Lu Ming was at a disadvantage. After all, he was no match for Ancient Devil. Haha, he's overestimating himself. The Ancient Devil is best off killing him. Cripple him. Song Yen laughed in his heart. He hoped Ancient Devil would go crazy and destroy Lu Ming. What terrifying power! At this moment, Lu Ming was also a little shocked. When he had just clashed with Ancient Devil, he realized that Ancient Devil's body was not only strong, but his demonic light was also shockingly powerful. That demonic light was extremely condensed and possessed unparalleled offensive power. Even Lu Ming's law of primal chaos was about to be torn apart by it. It was Lu Ming's first time encountering such astonishing power. Again! Lu Ming roared. He circulated the suppressing hell heaven skill to the extreme and continued to attack Ancient Devil. Ancient Devil was like a demonic god as he charged at Lu Ming. Dong! Dong! The two of them clashed in the void, causing the sky to tremble. However, Lu Ming was completely at a disadvantage. Every time they clashed, his body would be pushed back. After exchanging more than 10 moves, he had already retreated a few hundred meters. Dong! After the 15th move, Lu Ming retreated 1,000 meters. He felt a stinging pain in his palm and arm. Amazing, amazing. Is this the power of the primordial demon path? Lu Ming exclaimed. This was a cultivation system that was completely different from the current cultivation system. However, the degree of its profoundness was not inferior to the current cultivation system. You overestimate yourself. How dare you challenge a genius of the primordial demon path? You're just asking to be humiliated. Song Yen could not help but mock. However, when he saw the ancient great emperor glancing at him coldly, he trembled and almost wet himself. His expression changed and he did not dare to say a word. Whoosh! After the ancient devil repelled Lu Ming, he did not stop and continued to attack Lu Ming. Chaotic Calamity Finger. At this time, Lu Ming did not continue to use the suppressing hell heaven skill. Instead, he used the chaotic calamity finger. With a point of his finger, a huge chaotic ring formed and blasted towards Ancient Devil. Boom! Ancient Devil's fist bombarded the chaotic ring. The chaotic calamity finger shook violently and broke inch by inch. However, this time Ancient Devil's attack was also blocked. His body stagnated and came to a stop. At this time, Lu Ming's left hand was filled with endless runes. With a slap, the runes condensed into 9 dragons that rushed towards Ancient Devil. This is the law of Array Dao. He has mastered 2 types of law. How can this be? A sage state can actually control 2 types of law. Many people exclaimed in disbelief. Some even stood up from their seats in excitement. A sage state could actually control 2 types of law. This was unheard of. This guy, he didn't use much of his strength in Yura Kingdom. Luo Xian exclaimed. He finally understood why Lu Ming used the law of Devil Thunder in the beginning. It was formed by the law of chaos. Beside him, Yu Ning, Ji Tian, and Ji Peng naturally heard Luo Xian's words. They were tongue-tied, but in the end, they sighed. They understood that Lu Ming did not use his true strength in Yura Kingdom. He was just playing with them. He probably did not take them seriously at all. Yu Ning, especially, had mixed feelings. In the beginning, Lu Ming had become her guest, but later on, she had personally chased Lu Ming out of the eldest princess mansion. She actually expelled a son of chaos from the eldest princess residence. The undead emperor said that the Blue Demon King and Song Yen were blind. Wasn't she the same? The 9 dragons roared and pounced toward the elder devil. At the same time, Lu Ming pointed with his right hand. A chaotic finger of calamity was formed and blasted toward the elder devil. The 2 types of law attacked at the same time. Finally, the elder devil's expression turned serious. The demonic light on his body gathered and finally turned into a demonic blade that he held in his hand. Whoosh! A blade light slashed toward the 9 dragons. The terrifying power instantly tore the 9 dragons' bodies apart. However, after the 9 dragons were torn apart, they turned into endless runes and spread toward the elder devil, trying to seal him. Break! The elder devil roared. Demonic light burst out with shocking power and directly tore apart the law of Array Dao. Then, he slashed out again and collided with the chaotic finger of calamity. This slash tore apart the chaotic finger of calamity, but his own attack also slowed down and was not smooth. Then, Lu Ming's hands moved at the same time. He used the law of chaos and the law of Array Dao at the same time to fight the elder devil. The 2 fought fiercely. In the blink of an eye, dozens of moves had passed, but the outcome was still undecided. The eyes of many people from the ancient demonic nation lit up. Lu Ming could really fight the elder devil. His battle strength was shocking and beyond everyone's expectations. The faces of the people from the undead demonic nation also turned ugly. The 4 Elysian children of the 2 nations looked extremely serious. Chapter 2052. This ancient devil is even stronger than Xinghe in the Lotus World. During the battle, Lu Ming analyzed the abilities of the ancient demons. Back in the Lotus World, Xinghe's cultivation had already reached the peak of the Absolute Saint realm. He was only 1 step away from becoming a quasi-emperor, the same as Gulong. At that time, Lu Ming needed to borrow the power of his 3rd bloodline to fight against Xinghe. However, after such a long time, Lu Ming was no longer the same as before. At that time, he was only in the Absolute Saint realm. Now, he was at the peak of the Absolute Saint realm. He was only 1 step away from reaching the peak of the Absolute Saint realm. And now, whether it was the chaotic tribulation finger or the maturity of the Array Dao laws, they were incomparable to before. They had improved greatly. He could even fuse the law of chaos and the law of formation. Lu Ming's combat strength was much stronger than when he was in the Lotus World and Xinghe. Now, Lu Ming could suppress Xinghe even without using his 3rd bloodline. Of course, that was if Xinghe hadn't broken through yet. The battle was still going on. However, Lu Ming had the law of chaos and the law of formation. With them working together, he wasn't any weaker than his opponent. The law of formation gathered 9 dragons to attack. It had the power to destroy and seal. Although the seal would be torn apart by the ancient devil's power every time, it would still disturb him a little. Then, he used the chaotic finger of calamity as the main attack. Although the ancient devil was strong, he was still blocked by Lu Ming. Lu Ming and the ancient devil exchanged dozens of blows, but it was still difficult to determine the winner. Annihilation Chaotic Finger of Calamity. Lu Ming suddenly used the Annihilation Chaotic Finger of Calamity. Endless runes covered the chaotic finger of calamity, but they were covered by chaotic light. If one didn't pay attention, one wouldn't be able to see them. The ancient devil also thought that it was the same as the chaotic finger of calamity. He gathered demonic light and slashed at the chaotic finger of calamity. However, when he hit the chaotic finger of calamity, his expression changed. The power of the chaotic finger of calamity was beyond his expectations. Roar! He roared and demonic light burst out of his body to resist the power of the chaotic finger of calamity. However, he was still a little too late. A terrifying power surged out and sent the ancient devil flying. Ancient devil retreated a few thousand meters. Blood oozed from the corner of his mouth. I lost. The ancient demon took a careful look at Lu Ming before speaking. Then, he stepped back and flew to the battleship in the air. I was just lucky. Lu Ming thought to himself. The skill he had just used was a trick. Ancient devil had been careless, which was why he had been hurt. If he was prepared, Lu Ming might have been able to gain the upper hand, but he might not have been able to beat ancient devil. He won. Lu Ming won. Those from the ancient devil nation were overjoyed. Indeed, there was a silver lining at the end of the tunnel. Previously, they had been completely suppressed by the undying devil kingdom. Even the two Elysian children had been defeated by the ancient devil. He did not expect Lu Ming to appear at the critical moment and defeat ancient devil. There was no doubt that the ancient devil was the #1 genius of the undying devil kingdom. If even the ancient devil had been defeated, then there was no one in the undying devil kingdom that was a match for Lu Ming. Ha ha ha. Great. Someone from the ancient devil nation laughed, feeling that they had finally gotten their revenge. Lu Ming. Luo Xian murmured. Her eyes were filled with splendor. Those from the undying devil nation looked gloomy. This time around, they had come prepared. They wanted to make use of the fact that the ancient times emperor was celebrating the passing of his calamity to make use of the younger generation to humiliate the ancient devil nation, causing the ancient times emperor to lose face. Everything was going as planned. They had successfully defeated the geniuses of the ancient devil nation. However, they did not expect Lu Ming to appear and turn the situation around. If Lu Ming had continued to challenge them, wouldn't he have been able to defeat them? The one who regretted it the most was Yuan Tua. He wished he could slap himself. He had challenged Lu Ming first. He had not expected to provoke such a calamity. He did not expect to provoke Lu Ming. The ancient devil nation is indeed full of geniuses. It's a pity that someone is blind. Such a genius is unknown. What a joke. The undying emperor laughed. He then stepped out and returned to the battleship. The rest of the people from the undying devil nation followed suit. Rumble. The battleship was activated. It broke through the void and disappeared. The people from the undying devil nation had left. However, the Blue Demon King and Song Yen looked terrible. The undying emperor's words were like a slap to their faces. They're finally gone. This time, it's all thanks to Lu Ming. Otherwise, we would have been humiliated by the undying devil nation. That's right. The undying devil nation has a genius who cultivates the immemorial demon path. That's amazing. No matter how amazing they are, they were defeated by Lu Ming in the end. Someone said that Lu Ming is not qualified to take part in the competition. What a joke. After the people from the undying devil nation left, the crowd started to discuss. Some of them were even secretly mocking Yi Futian. A genius like Lu Ming was not allowed to take part in the competition. If Lu Ming was not qualified, who was? Damn it! The Blue Demon King roared in his heart. He could not wait to chop Lu Ming into pieces. As for Song Yen, his face was extremely gloomy. The ancient great emperor looked at the Blue Demon King with dissatisfaction. He then looked at Lu Ming and said with a smile, Lu Ming, I heard that you're from the Yura kingdom. Naturally, the ancient demon emperor had heard the discussions earlier on. That's right. Lu Ming said. Good. The Yura kingdom actually has a genius like you. You defeated a genius from the immemorial demon path when you're at the peak of the sage realm. That's a rare sight. I hereby announce that the ranking of this competition will be changed. You're the first, and the rest will move back by 1 place. The ancient great emperor announced. Song Yan's face changed drastically. Lu Ming was the first, and the rest would move back by 1 place. Song Yen was the third, and he could make a request to the ancient great emperor. But now, he was the fourth, and he was not qualified to make a request. Song Yen almost vomited blood. He had thought of a request that would be very useful to him. But now, everything was in vain. It's all Lu Ming's fault. Song Yen was furious. In his opinion, why did Lu Ming have to fight and defeat the ancient devil? Everything was Lu Ming's fault. As for whether he would be humiliated by the undying demon nation, it had nothing to do with him. How could it be more important than him making a request to the ancient great emperor? Do any of you have any objections? The ancient great emperor's gaze swept across the crowd, and it paused on the blue demon king and Song Yen. They had 100 or 1,000 objections in their hearts, but none of them dared to say it out loud. Obviously, Lu Ming had defeated the ancient devil and saved the ancient devil nation's face. The ancient great emperor was very satisfied with Lu Ming's performance. They could only smile against their will and say that they had no objections. Alright, in that case, Lu Ming is the first. According to my promise, the top 3 can make a request to me. Lu Ming, what do you want? Just say it. Chapter 2053. Lu Ming was overjoyed. The reason why he had challenged the ancient devil emperor was partly because he wanted to spar with him, but more importantly, he wanted to show off his strength and attract the attention of the ancient great emperor. From there, he would have the chance to make a request. Now, Lu Ming had achieved his goal. Great Emperor, Lu Ming wishes to borrow the ancient devil coffin for a month. I hope the great emperor can grant my request. Lu Ming clasped his fists at the ancient great emperor and stated his request. The moment he said that, the crowd fell silent. Many people looked at Lu Ming in shock. Lu Ming actually made such a request. The ancient devil coffin was the ancient devil nation's national treasure. Only the ancient great emperor had the qualifications to control it. Lu Ming was really bold. He actually wanted to borrow the ancient devil coffin for a month. Luo Xian's heart couldn't help but tighten. He was worried for Lu Ming. Impudent. Lu Ming, don't think that you can take a mile after getting an inch just because you have some talent. The ancient devil coffin is a treasure that you can borrow. The Blue Demon King took the opportunity to stand out and reprimand Luo Xian. However, Lu Ming didn't even look at him. His gaze was fixed on the ancient great emperor. The ancient great emperor frowned. Lu Ming, change your request. As long as I can do it, I will definitely help you. Lu Ming's heart sank. The ancient great emperor also didn't agree. Great Emperor, this junior wants to borrow the ancient devil coffin to save someone. This junior has a relative whose soul is injured and needs the ancient devil coffin to heal. I hope the great emperor can grant my request. Lu Ming said again. The ancient great emperor's frown deepened. After a while, he said, Lu Ming, after the banquet, come and find this great emperor. Yes. Lu Ming was overjoyed. It seemed like there was hope. Then, it was time for the others to make their requests. The requests of the 2 sons of chaos were naturally related to cultivation. The ancient great emperor agreed to them one by one, causing the others to be filled with envy. The battle of the 10 Earths will begin in less than 3 years. At that time, there will be great opportunities. Therefore, during this period of time, you must cultivate well and raise your cultivation and battle strength. Seize the opportunities in the battle of the 10 Earths. The ancient great emperor's voice resounded throughout the entire area. Many youths could not help but clench their fists. They had heard of the Battle of 10 Lands and were all looking forward to it. That was a gathering of all the geniuses of the entire primordial realm. How exciting would it be? The banquet continued until the next day, when it finally ended. Everyone left one by one. Princess, I won't return to the Yura kingdom. Lu Ming bid farewell to Luo Xian, the Luo family patriarch, and the others. Luo Xian sighed in her heart. Ever since she saw Lu Ming's strength, she knew that Lu Ming wouldn't stay in the Yura kingdom. The waters of the Yura kingdom were too shallow. They couldn't keep a true dragon. Take care. If there's a chance, come to the Yura kingdom to look for me. Luo Xian bared her teeth, revealing a pair of canine teeth. She was quite cute. Of course, with such a beautiful princess around, I will definitely think about you. If there's a chance, I will definitely look for you. Lu Ming smiled and joked. Finally, the people of the Yura kingdom left. The banquet was over, and they were going to return to the Yura kingdom. Young Master Lu Ming, please follow me. A middle-aged man came in front of Lu Ming. This person was sent by the ancient great emperor. Lu Ming nodded and followed the middle-aged man to a side hall. The ancient great emperor was sitting at the top of the hall. After arriving, the middle-aged man left. Lu Ming, must you borrow the ancient demon coffin? The ancient great emperor didn't beat around the bush and asked directly. Yes, ancient great emperor. Without the ancient demon coffin, I'm afraid that my family won't be able to wake up. Lu Ming spoke with a determined expression. The ancient great emperor pondered for a while and said, Lu Ming, if the ancient demon coffin is still with me, I can lend it to you for a month, but, the ancient great emperor paused. Lu Ming was shocked. What did the ancient great emperor mean? Could it be that the ancient demon coffin wasn't with the ancient great emperor? To tell you the truth, the ancient demon coffin was stolen a year ago. The ancient demon emperor paused for a while before continuing. What? Lu Ming was dumbfounded. The ancient demon coffin was stolen? How was that possible? Who would be able to steal the ancient demon coffin from the ancient great emperor? However, he didn't think that the ancient great emperor was lying to him. With the ancient great emperor's status, there was no need for him to lie to him. If the ancient great emperor didn't want to lend it to him, Lu Ming couldn't do anything about it. I didn't bring the ancient demon coffin with me. It was hidden in a secret place in the palace. A year ago, it was stolen. After that person stole the ancient demon coffin, he escaped into the demon sea. At that time, I was preparing for my tribulation, so I didn't chase after him. The ancient great emperor said. It's the demon sea. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He had stayed in the Yura kingdom for a while, so he knew some of the scary places in the land of infinite demons. The demon sea was known as one of the 3 forbidden places in the land of infinite demons. It was extremely scary. Since ancient times, countless people had entered it, and countless people had died there. It was said that even great emperors would be in danger if they entered. However, there were also rumors that the demon sea contained great opportunities. If one could obtain it, they would be able to break through. Entering the demon sea was purely based on luck. If one was lucky, even if their cultivation base was low, they would be fine after entering. However, if one was unlucky, even great emperors would be in danger after entering. There was once a great emperor who entered and left with serious injuries, shocking the entire land of infinite demons. Someone stole the ancient demon coffin and escaped into the demon sea. The ancient demon coffin can't be lost. It must be recovered. Now that I've passed my tribulation, I'm preparing to gather a group of people to enter the demon sea and take back the ancient demon coffin. If you want to borrow the ancient demon coffin, you can come with me. However, the situation in the demon sea is unpredictable. I can't guarantee your safety. The ancient great emperor said. Yes, great emperor. I'll go with you. Lu Ming agreed without hesitation. No matter what, he had to get the ancient demon coffin and save Autumn Moon. No matter how dangerous it was, he had to give it a try. I didn't expect you to be such a loyal little fellow. Alright, you can stay in the palace first. I'll send someone to call you when the time comes. The ancient great emperor said. Then, he asked someone to arrange a place for Lu Ming to stay. Lu Ming stayed in the palace and waited. Lu Ming didn't have to wait for long before the ancient great emperor sent someone to find him. The person brought Lu Ming to a spacious area. Blue Demon King. Many people had already gathered here. Lu Ming immediately saw the Blue Demon King. The Blue Demon King's gaze swept past Lu Ming, and a sharp glint flashed in his eyes. Lu Ming discovered that there were several hundred people gathered here. However, they all had one thing in common. They were all very old. There were martial emperors and quasi-emperors. Lu Ming asked someone to find out. Only then did he know that these people were going to enter the Demon Sea. There were several hundred quasi-emperors and dozens of martial emperors here.